Okay, give me the data. November 24,
November 29, 1985,
1985,
3:30 p.m.
Yeah,
Visakhapatnam.
yeah. How should I save it?
Karthik.
Karthik. Okay, so what should we see? What do we know and what are the questions?
He's my younger brother, sir.
Okay.
He has done his master's here.
Mm-hmm.
He's looking for trying to get a job right now.
Mm-hmm.
And this is completely a career-related question.
Okay.
What should he do next?
Okay. Thing is, Lagna is on the border of the Samsa, right? It is at the 15-degree border, but it is just below 15 degrees. 14 degrees 56 minutes means with a little change in the time, it could be above 15 degrees, in which case the Lagna will change in the Samsa. But the good news is, along with it, so many other things will change. For example, D4, right? And hopefully we know when he came to US. So that can be used to see which D4 Lagna makes sense, and that will basically tell us which D10 Lagna is correct. So luckily, we can look at that. So when did he come to US? He came to US?
2007, December 31st.
December 31st.
Yeah.
Came to US on 2007, December 31st. Okay. What did he do his master's in?
Computer science and electronics.
Okay. Did MS in CS and ED.
His bachelor's was in electronics and electrical.
ES was in, BTech was in?
Electronics.
Okay. Okay, electronics. Good. So I think that we can also look at D24. So D24 and D4 both have a discontinuity at the 15-degree point, just like the D10. So we should be able to rectify. So let's take first Chaturdhamsa. So 2007 December 31. First of all, what dasha should we use? We'll use the standard Vimshatri dasha. And what dasha was running when he came to US? So this is somebody with a lot of planets in the 8th house. See, they are all in the 7th house. Okay. So, what dasha brought him to US? Was it 2007 end?
Jupiter,
End.
Saturn, Mercury.
Yeah. So Jupiter, Saturn. Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury. So let's say Jupiter dasha, Jupiter Mahadasha, Saturn Antardasha brought the person abroad. Does it make any sense? Does it make any sense? Let's go to the Chaturdhamsa. Can Jupiter give foreign journey? If this is the Lagna. See, the possibilities are, this could be the Lagna, the next one is Libra. If you change the time, right, by how much? You can find out. 11 seconds later. Just 11 seconds you add to the time, Lagna will go to the next one. And the next one will be Libra. If you add 11 seconds, let's say 31 instead of 30. Then Lagna is actually in Libra. That is Lagna. So the possibilities are Cancer and Libra. We have to say which makes more sense. Now, with Cancer coming abroad in Jupiter Saturn, does it make sense? Jupiter is the 9th lord. 9th is the house of foreign residence, fortune from a foreign country. See, 7th, 9th and 12th, these are the houses. And Jupiter is the 9th lord. Is he in the 12th house? That's even better. Even otherwise he is the 9th lord. Oh, Lagna is at the end of Cancer, right? So Jupiter is actually in the 12th house. So Jupiter is the 9th lord in the 12th house. Classical combination for going abroad. So as soon as Jupiter Dasha started, within the second Antardasha itself, within a couple of years, he basically came abroad, and there is a very good chance that entire Jupiter Dasha he will be living abroad. It's very unlikely that during Jupiter, if this is the correct Lagna, during the Jupiter Dasha the person will go back to India, live in India, very unlikely. The person is likely to stay abroad for most of the period. So he came, and why Saturn gave foreign distance? Why did Saturn give it? Yeah, he's the 7th lord in the 7th house. So 9th lord in the 12th house, 7th lord in the 7th house. And the Karaka houses are 7, 9, 12. So this is a strong case. Why Mercury gave it though? Well, he is the 12th lord in the 7th house. Right? So Mercury and Saturn, they are the, Mercury is a 19 degrees Aquarius and Saturn is a 1 degree Aquarius. So these two planets are together in the same house, in the 7th house of long journey. And Mercury is the 12th lord of living motherland. Jupiter is the 9th lord of flourishing abroad. So there are connections between all these houses, 9th lord in 12, 12th lord in 7, 7th lord in 7. So they, Dasha, Antardasha, Pratyantardasha took the person abroad. Makes very good sense. So this makes sense. If this is the chart, things make sense. Suppose you change it to Libra, beginning of Libra. Then what happens is, Saturn will be in the 5th house. He is the 4th and 5th lord in the 5th house. Any link with the foreign residence? Not really. Mercury has a link. He is the 9th and 12th lord. But he is in the 5th house. 5th house doesn't really show going abroad. It actually shows being in the same country. So, Mercury has some link, but Saturn has no chance. And you could say Saturn being the dispositor of Mercury is the lord of the sign where Mercury is. If he is close to Mercury, he can give Mercury's result, but he is actually far away. So it's not like Saturn and Mercury have some kind of yoga. They are actually far apart. So Saturn giving the result doesn't make sense. What about Jupiter? 3rd and 6th lord in the 10th house. Shows foreign residence, going abroad? No. So Dasha lord and Antardasha lord do not show going abroad. But Pratyantardasha lord could explain it to a large extent. Even though his house, the house he is in is not conducive. But at least being the 9th and 12th lord, he could give it. So in one case you have a clean explanation. In the other case, extremely vague justification that you have to give. So very likely the given time is right. Or it could be back by a minute or two, but it's not forward by more than 11 seconds. So Dashamsa Lagna is doesn't need a change. You don't have to change it to the next time. Now let's verify, double check with the Siddhamsa. In the D24, the Lagna is Siddhamsa. Of course, this will also change in 11 seconds, right? Every year. At 15 degrees, so many divisional charts will change. All the even divisional charts will change there. Is that right?
Multiple.
Yeah, all the even divisional charts will change. Right? Like D4, D6. Because if you, even number, so it's of the form of 2n. So first 10 will be in the 15 degrees, next 10 will be in the 15 degrees. So at 15 degrees there is a hard border. So all even divisional charts will change sign at 15 degrees. So at 11, after 11 seconds this will also change, D24. So let's see if this makes sense. So he did bachelor's in electronics. Does it make any sense at all? Bachelor's in electronics, does it make any sense? Honestly. What do you guys think? Masters, well, that's a different game. But I'm talking about the bachelor's. Does it make sense? So the Jupiter owns it and Jupiter aspects it. So why did he do electronics? Rahu has some aspects, but Jupiter and Saturn are the strongest influences. Why did he do electronic engineering? Tell me. What was the reason the person did electronics? Can we reconcile with it or something is in it? The 9th house was Ninth house what? Oh, ninth house has Mars. Okay, so we are looking at the aspect. So you are saying in terms of longitude, very good. Very good. So that can explain. So, excellent. So the moral is, apart from the aspect, see the planets who are in the house also. And apart from the Lord and aspected. So, Lagna is at 28 degree Cancer, Mars is at 12 degree, no, Mars is at 13 degree Aries, Mercury is at 24 degree Aries. So both of them are in the ninth house actually. Good. So that too Mars is in own house. He is in Mola Trikona. So ninth house contains a planet in Mola Trikona. So Mars is very strong then. So he can dominate. And he is with Mercury. So Mercury can show some kind of computers, logic, math, etc. And Mars can show engineering, especially electronic engineering. Mars, Rahu, Ketu, these are the Karakas. So it makes sense. It is quite possible. On the other hand, the masters, why did he do electronics and computers in masters? Masters is seen from the second house, right? Yeah. Itself. Even now they are in the ninth house itself. But you are saying Mars will also be the ninth lord.
And the Jupiter, that's giving him Masters. Because Jupiter will be in the second house.
See, yeah, with this, Jupiter is the ninth lord and he's in the second house. So all this master's education happening in the Jupiter Dasha makes more sense. See, because he is the ninth lord, he can also give some bachelor's education. He can give bachelor's education, bachelor's degree, he can give master's education. All that Jupiter giving makes more sense. Apart from it, we are not trying to see whether Leo makes more sense or Cancer makes more sense. Because in the other case, Leo makes no sense. I mean, above 15 degrees makes no sense. Libra makes no sense. So, we are strongly convinced that original time is right. And we are seeing, now our goal is, unless it can't explain, we don't want to go back. If that can explain, but Leo also can explain here, that's fine. We will still accept Cancer. Okay, so we are not trying to see which makes more sense. We are trying to see if Cancer makes sense. Reasonable sense. Without beating around the bush. Okay, so what is going on with the second house? The second house contains?
Ketu, Rahu.
Yeah? Rahu and Ketu are not exactly in the second house, are they? They are in the first house. Yeah.
Second house contains Jupiter, sir.
Second house contains Jupiter. So why did he do electronics and computer science? Tell me. Why did he do electronics and computer science? Why electronics and computer science? Well, to see the tangible nature of the master's education, look at A2. Where is A2? Where is A2? A2 is in Virgo, 27 degree Virgo, right? Who's the lord of it?
Buddha. Mercury.
Mercury is the lord of it. Who has aspects on it? If you look at aspects, Sun has 43% aspect, Mars has 45, Mercury has 11%, Venus has 24, Saturn has 33%, Rahu has full aspect. He has a second aspect on it. So Rahu has a full second house aspect, 100% aspect. So Rahu's influence is dominating, right? And Rahu's influence can show electronics. And secondly, the lord of the A2 is Mercury. Lord of the A2 is Mercury. So that can show computer science. So doing masters in computer science and doing and also some courses in electronics or masters in electronics combined with computer science is possible because Rahu, Mercury influence is dominating. Overall, if you look at the 9th house and the 10th house and A9 and A2, if you look at all the influences, there is a continuity. Mercury has influence on both of them. Mercury is the connection between both of them. So the thing is Mercurian kind of education being obtained at the bachelor as well as master level, and master being related to the bachelor's education is a possibility. When there is a connection, the person need not switch from one field to another field. So overall, this Siddhanta explains things reasonably well. So let's just accept this, and now let's give the reading. Go to D10. Go to D10. What is going on with D10? What is going on with D10? Lagna is Leo, right? So what is the Dasha running right now? Jupiter? Mercury would have come now. He came in Jupiter, Saturn to US, but now Jupiter, Mercury. So Jupiter, Mercury, right now it is Venus. So he is already looking for a job. Unfortunately, this is a very tough time these are tough times to look for a job. I mean, not based on horoscope, but in general looking at the happenings in US. So Jupiter, Mercury, Venus is running, and then Jupiter, Mercury, Sun will come. Let us see if there is any hope. What is the Lagna? Leo. Let's look at the divisional longitude. So it's at the end of Leo. So all planets will actually be in the 12th house compared to how they see me. Okay, let us see. So who's the 10th lord? 10th lord is Venus, and he is in the 11th house. And who's the second lord? Mercury. He is with the Lagna lord in the 3rd house. So Lagna lord Sun and 2nd and 11th lord Mercury of money and profits, they are together in the 3rd house. So 3rd house is one strong house in this chart. Okay, that's one observation. The other one, the 7th house contains Jupiter and Ketu. 7th house is strong, right? 6th and 7th are owned by the same planet, but 7th is occupied by the 5th lord, Jupiter, and 4th lord, Ketu. There is a Rajoga between 4th and 5th lord, Jupiter and Ketu. So 7th is stronger. Moreover, Lagna lord is in the 3rd house of, say, Kamatrikona. He is in the 3rd house of initiative and also temporary service. So, this is not an advice for the first job, but in the long run, this is somebody who will be contracting, who will not be in a permanent service, who will not be working for somebody forever. So this is somebody who should look in terms of building a career so that he gets a good cross-section of skills which are needed to be an independent contractor later on. So he should keep that at the back of his mind as he builds his career. That's point number 1. Point number 2 is Jupiter Dasha conducive to getting being employed well? He is the 5th lord in own sign, and he is in the 7th house. A trine lord in a quadrant, giving a Rajoga with Ketu, and he is in own sign. So his Dasha should basically be okay. It should not be a bad Dasha, right? His Dasha should not be a bad Dasha. D10. He is at 4th Pisces, and Ketu is at, oh God, Yoga is actually quite close. Ketu is at 3 degree Pisces in D10. 3 degree 36 minutes Pisces. And Jupiter is at 4 degree 25 minutes Pisces. So less than a degree. So Jupiter Ketu Yoga is very powerful. And Ketu, by the way, Jupiter is in one sign in Meena. Ketu is also quite strong in Meena. Right? It is Ketu's Monotrikona. So Ketu is strong, Jupiter is strong. 2 strong planets giving a Raj Yoga in the 7th house of business. And that Dasha is running right now. So it is a good Dasha. There is a very good chance that very quickly, within this Dasha, he will start a business. He will have his own business. It's a very likely thing. And but as far as getting a new job is concerned, for somebody without a job to get a job, 5th house has to be strong. 5th house is Poropunya. You get your first break as a result of your Poropunya. Because there are so many people who have studied a particular subject. So for you to get a job, somebody has to trust you and give you a job. On the other hand, once you go into a field, there are only a few people with specialization in a particular field. So when there is a vacancy in that field, you get an opportunity. But first job is because of Poropunya. So 5th house is very important for the first job. Jupiter is the 5th lord. So the Dasha is conducive. The Mahadasha that is running right now is conducive to getting a job. What about the Antardasha, Mercury? Can Mercury give a job? Yeah. He is with Lagna Lord. he is not associated with the fifth house, but again, apart from the fifth house, the Lagna can show a new job. First house and fifth house. In general, the trines of Lagna, especially first and fifth houses. Fifth house of Porpunja and first house of the very beginning, the very core of your existence. So, being with the Lagna Lord Sun, Mercury is also capable of giving job. So in the Mercury Antardasha, there is a good chance that the person will get a job. But then after Mercury, Ketu will come. It will be a good Antardasha. When Jupiter Ketu comes, it will trigger the Rajoga. So 2012, next year, year after next year, that will be a good year for his career. Anyway, coming back to Mercury Dasha, so there is a potential. It's not like a wow super kind of candidate for giving a job, but there is a potential of getting a job in the Mercury Antardasha. Now, which Prachanda Dasha would be ideal for getting a job? Right now running Venus. Can Venus give a job? Can Venus give a job? Well, he is the 10th Lord. Right? Being the 10th Lord, can he give job? Yeah, 10th Lord can give. And does he have a link with the 5th house of recognition of your abilities? Does he have a link to the 5th house? For me? Yeah, he is in A5 and he is aspecting, he is in the 11th house. He has some 60% aspect on the 5th house. Right? Where is A5? In D10, A5 is at 0 degree Gemini. 0 degree Gemini. So Venus is not in A5. Venus is in the 2nd house from A5. But the thing is, that's good. Why? Planets in the 1st and 2nd houses from Arudhas will make them flourish, especially if it is a benefic planet like Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, etc. So, as far as A5 is concerned, actually it's not just Venus. Venus and Moon together are in the 2nd house from A5. And if you remember, the Venus-Moon combination in the 2nd house from Arul Lagna will make one very rich. And here, we are not talking about Arul Lagna, we are talking about A5. So A5 is recognition of one's ability, tangible recognition of one's abilities. So that is blessed by the Venus-Moon combination in the 2nd house, giving prosperity to that Arudha. So, during Venus Antardasha, Venus Pratyantardasha, perhaps Moon Sukshmantardasha, there is a chance that the person will be, okay, that has already passed. So, but the thing is, this Venus Pratyantardasha, there is a chance of getting a job. But the thing is, if you look from Mercury, how is Venus placed? The Pratyantardasha Lord, right? Mercury is the Pratyantardasha Lord. If you look from him, how is Venus placed? Before that, if you look from Jupiter, how is Mercury placed? If you look from Jupiter, the Dasha Lord, how is Mercury placed, the Antardasha Lord, in the Samsa? He is in the? No? He is in the 8th house. From Jupiter, Mercury is in the 8th house. So he can show struggle, he can also show disappointment, he can also show sudden developments. So the thing is, during the Mercury Antardasha, there is a chance that there will be some tension relating to career. Because 8th house is the house of tension. Moreover, Scorpio is an evil sign. So planets in Scorpio, the negative traits can be emphasized. So, during this Antardasha, there can be some tension relating to career. So already there may be some tension, some worry that there is no job, will I find a job? So all that may be going on in the mind relating to career. But being in the 8th house, he is basically the 4th and 7th Lord. So he's not like a Dutthana Lord or something. He's a Kendra Lord. So he's not really a very bad planet. He's okay. He's an average planet. And being in the 8th house, he may give, moreover, Mercury is effective in Scorpio. He is effective in master signs for material purposes. So, there is a chance that something will come suddenly. So, whatever good happens in Mercury, it will happen suddenly. Now, looking from Mercury, how is Venus? Because we are looking at Venus Pratyantardasha. Venus is?
9th house.
Yeah. He is in the 9th house. Venus is in the 9th house. He is the 7th Lord. He is the 7th Lord in the 9th house. with the ninth lord. What does this show? It's a Rajoga. It's a good combination. So, during the Venus Antardasha, there is a chance of getting a job. And suppose that doesn't happen. The next one is a strong candidate because Sun. We are talking about Sun. Sun is, he is in the first house itself. From Mercury, he is the 10th lord in Lagna. Clearly showing starting a career. Even from Lagna, he is the Lagna lord. Right? Being the Lagna lord, he can give a new beginning in career. So, even if Venus doesn't give a job, the Sun Pratyantadasha is very likely to give a job. When is that running? September to October. So, right now also there is a chance, but September to October period is quite promising. So, overall it seems based on the Dasha that before October 17 there should be a job for him. So, that is how it seems like. The only thing is the Antardasha is not really great. It's okay. The Antardasha of Mercury is not really that great. It's okay. But the thing is, given that Dasha is very good and the good Pratyantadashas are running right now, there is a very good chance that he will find a job. To confirm it further, let us see based on the Tithi Pravesh chart. So let us see the 2009 Tithi Pravesh chart. Tithi Pravesh chart. So what is happening in the 2009 Tithi Pravesh chart? Who's the Hora Lord?
Saturn.
Saturn. Saturn is the Hora Lord. How is Saturn Dasha? Not Saturn. How is the chart overall? Is there a chance? Does the chart show getting a job this year? Or not really? Yeah, Venus. What about Venus? Yeah. Venus is the 5th and 10th lord. 6th lord of recognition, 10th lord of career. He is in the 9th house in Moola Trikona. So Venus is a very strong planet. And how close is the Lagna to borders? Because if Lagna changes, who you think is a Yoka Arga can become a functional male sign if Lagna goes to Sagittarius. But you are fine. I mean, forward 2 minutes 52 seconds later it will change, and we know that it's not more than 11 seconds. Backward 6 minutes 35 seconds. Hopefully there is not 6 minutes of error backwards. So we are basically comfortable with this Lagna. So we'll basically go with it, and going with it, Venus Dasha is a good Dasha. When is Venus Dasha going to come? It's running. So Venus Dasha is running right now. So during this period, July 11 to September 24, the next 2 months basically, is a very, very auspicious period. There is a very good chance of finding a job during this period. So there is a very good chance. And if he misses this window, how is the next period? Sun is not good. He is the 8th lord, showing working hard, etc. And Moon is also not really that great. So this is the best opportunity. Until September 24 is the best opportunity. So he should put his best foot forward, send his resume to as many places as possible, and do his best to get a job. There is a very good chance. The time is very conducive before September 24. So good luck to him. Is there any prayer he can do for getting a job? Any prayer he can do? What do you guys think?
Amatyakaraka is Jupiter.
Yeah. So Amatyakaraka you say is Jupiter. He is, yeah. It is right. So in the Shamsa, the 6th from Amatyakaraka is Sun. 6th Lord. Right? And Sun is also the Lagna Lord. Sun is also the Lagna Lord. So, one thing he can do is pray to Sun. Sun or Shiva.
6 also contains Rahu and Shani.
Okay, 6 contains Rahu and Shani.
Rahu.
And the thing is, right now Mercury Antardasha is running and Sun is with Mercury. Sun has an influence on the Antardasha Lord. He is a Lagna Lord. He overall has influence lifelong, and he right now in this Antardasha he has an influence on the Antardasha Lord. So, given those facts, and his Pratyanda Dasha is going to come in September 5. So towards the end of Venus Dasha, when Venus Antardasha comes in the Tripravesh chart, around that time, which is probably September 15, that time, September 10, 24 times. So around that time, it will be Sun Pratyanda Dasha running. And moreover, like I said, he has an influence on the Antardasha Lord Mercury. So Sun is a key planet to propitiate. So one such thing you can suggest is worshipping Shiva. Another is Sun himself, Aditya Hridayam. Yeah, in the Rashi chart also Sun is the fifth lord of Purvapanja. So, if this person basically chants Aditya Hridayam, you can find the audio and as well as the text on the internet. So, if you can download Aditya Hridayam and read it every day, read it 3 times every day. It doesn't really take a lot of time, it just takes to read it once probably a few minutes. So, if you can read it 3 times every day for the next, let's say, 60 days or so, it can be very helpful. There is a very good chance that you will find a job, even though for newcomers, for newly graduated students, right now situation is really crazy, very difficult to find jobs. But I think there is a very good potential of finding job before September 24. Especially the month of September looks very, very good. So tell him to read Aditya Hridayam 3 times every day morning, if possible in the morning, around sunrise time. Any other questions? Any other comments on the chart? Anything else? Okay. Marriage? Okay. Anything else? Okay. We will wrap up early today.
On a very parallel note, sir.
Okay.
In the planetary aspect evaluation, is there a possibility for us to key in with respect to a particular point?
Key in a point?
Key in a point in D20.
Yeah.
Suppose if I want aspects on the 12th house from Atmakaraka in D20.
Yeah, actually in the version that is still not released, 7.41, just like I give the houses from Lagna, from various Arudhas, I also give houses from various planets. So, first house from Sun, second house from Sun, 12th house from Sun. First house from Moon, second house from Moon, 12th house from Moon. Like that. Up to 12th house from Ketu. So, all the houses from various planets are covered. Okay. Because you need that for the 12th from Atmakaraka, or 6th from Amatyakaraka. So, for that you need. So, I added them.
Both the aspects on that particular house.
Yeah.
And I was reading your Karakamsa article, and a lot of places you mentioned you were taking the 12th house itself and not the Lord. There are
for the Atmakaraka?
Yeah. I was just giving some examples, trying to work it out.
Yeah.
And you have brought in a correlation between Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's chart, Sri Sharada Mata's chart, and Vivekananda's chart. So what I was simply trying to do was a map in our own in our own group.
Yeah.
And my particular question is, if that particular 12th house does not contain anything.
Yeah.
In the case of Sri Ramana Maharshi, you have taken Ketu, any planet which is conjoining Ketu, for example Jupiter in his case.
Yeah.
And then you said because Parasara said
Did I only take Ketu's conjunction, or did I also take some influence on the 12th house, like aspecting the 12th house or aspecting
the aspect is also there.
So, apart from the aspect, the planet is associated with Ketu. So the thing is, bottom line is, if there are multiple planets affecting a house, if one of them has a link to Ketu, that planet has a better chance of dominating the spirituality of the person, because Ketu is the karaka of spirituality.
So with aspect, you have taken the Argala on that particular view. you've looked at the
Argala on the 12th house.
So,
Okay, you can take Argala, you can take the aspect, you can take the occupancy, you can take the lordship. All these planets can influence. If there is a project, somebody who has a deep desire to work on the project can work on the project. Somebody who has access to information on the project can work on the project, whether he has desire or not. Somebody who has access to certain information. Somebody who has a very key role, like the hardware architect, unless he signs off on the chip design, the chip won't be made. So somebody like that is Argala. Somebody with a strong role to play. He can play a role he can play the key role in the project. He can be the project lead. Any of these can take leadership in the project. Similarly, the Karaka, whoever is the project manager, somebody close to him, somebody who basically goes to lunch every day with the project manager, right? Suppose there are a lot of people who want to do a project, but let's say one person actually is the manager of a group of people who are working on the project, but still somebody else with a strong desire to work on the project, or maybe a hardware chip lead or somebody who's associated with the project. If he goes to lunch with the project manager every day, he may actually end up being the key guy in the project. So similarly, somebody who has a strong link to the Karaka relating to that particular matter, if that planet has an aspect or Argala or he occupies the house, he can dominate over everybody. Bottom line is to know exactly which planet will dominate when there are 3 or 4 influences or 2 or 3 influences. To know which planet will actually dominate, to know that a priori without knowing anything about the person is very difficult. We do our best as astrologers, but like I said earlier, we don't have perfect knowledge. The knowledge we have is like a small lamp, whereas astrology is supposed to be the light of sun or light of 1,000 suns. And what we have is the knowledge as a lamp. Maybe the lamp was small earlier, it's growing a little bigger now, but still we are working with a lamp worth of knowledge. So bottom line is, take into account what is the inclination of the person when you are advising somebody. What is the person inclined towards? Suppose I think, using all my astrology, I think this person should do Chandipad. But let's say that person has no such influence at all. When he imagines Durga, he is scared or he doesn't get the right thought in the mind. There's no point in doing it. Sometimes somebody may be not having attachment, but after doing it a few times, he may get the attachment because he may have had the attachment earlier but forgotten now. So I'm not saying go by the surface. Sometimes you may have to scratch the surface to reach the depth. But the bottom line is, even if you scratch the surface and you are reaching the depth and you don't see what you want to see, then you have to accept it. The bottom line is, what we know is imperfect. So, any sadhana, for you to identify with a devata, you have to really feel the deity. You have to have the deep attachment to the deity. You have to be able to visualize the deity, either as an energy or as a physical form. You have to be able to visualize that deity. So there should be that love, inherent love within you for a particular deity. So if you have that love for Hanuman, you should do Hanuman, whatever your horoscope shows. If you have love for Kali, you should do Kali, irrespective of what your horoscope shows. And hopefully our astrology will reach a stage where what the person actually has an attachment to will actually come up. There will not be a lot of noise. But I am afraid there is some noise. So the bottom line is, look at who's owning the house, who's occupying it, and who's having aspects, strong aspects, more than let's say 2/3 aspect, and who's having Argala on it, and then see which one will dominate. To dominate, somebody who has multiple influences, let's say the Lord is also aspecting, then he can dominate, like that. So, or somebody who's aspecting and he's also aspecting the Lord, or he's also aspecting the Karaka, or he's also with the Karaka, things like that. So see where there is a confluence of multiple parameters. If there is, then you can basically go towards that planet.
Can we do that on the...
In this chart? Okay. Let's see D20. So what's happening in the D20? Huh? Atmakarka is Mars, right? So Atmakarka is Mars. The 12th house from him. Let's see who's there and who's aspecting. Let's manually, let's see. Can we use the software. No, we can't. Lagna is at 28 degrees. Mars is at?
12th house there is no one, sir. Even
Mars is at 27 degrees. Okay. No, what I am trying to say is Lagna and Mars are nearly at the same degree, 2 degrees apart. So you can look at the 12th house from Lagna. That will be representative of 12th house from Mars. Right? In G20.
Yeah.
They are close. So it will be off by a small percentage, whatever aspect you see. So, anyway, who's in the 12th house?
No one.
Where is Venus?
11th house.
He's at 23 degrees. Yeah, he's in the 11th house. So Venus is not in the 12th house from Mars. So it is empty. Right? The Lord is Jupiter. So one parameter is Jupiter. Who else on the 26 to 27 degree Sagittarius? Who else has an influence? Who else has an influence? Tell me. Does Mars have an influence? Of course he would. Atmakarka would always have an influence on the 12th from him. He will have an Agara.
Jupiter would have an influence. 9th house influence.
Jupiter will aspect by 9th house, you are saying? Yeah. We'll see the aspects. Yeah, aspects we should see. Now, is there any other Argala? Moon, does he have an Argala?
Moon he has.
Not exactly. He is actually in the 10th house from it, not in the 11th house. So let's go to aspects now. Planetary aspect evaluation. Let's change the divisional chart to D20. So let's take the 12th house from Lagna in D20. Who's aspecting it? It is at 28 degree Sagittarius. It should be 2 degrees less. What are the main influences? Jupiter is the biggest influence, right? Saturn has 56% influence. He also has influence. But Jupiter is the biggest. Sun has some influence. But Jupiter is the best. Saturn is the second. Okay. So what does it show? Saturn's influence is small. Jupiter's influence is much bigger. Saturn can show Saturn in Taurus, in a benefic sign. He shows Vishnu incarnations. So it can show Vishnu. But what is dominating is Jupiter. Jupiter is the Lord as well as he is aspecting it by some 80% we thought, right?
And he is also the Amarchikaraka.
83%. Yeah, that doesn't matter. So, given that Jupiter is clearly dominating. So in this chart, the Ishtaavata is seen from Jupiter. That shows Shiva. And if you want to be more specific, where is Jupiter? Is he in a malefic sign or benefic sign? He is a malefic sign, Aries, owned by Mars. So it's a slightly fiery form of Shiva. Some fiery influence is there on the Shiva. But it is not, we are finding Shiva from Jupiter. Jupiter is a Sattvic planet. But there is also some tamasic influence on it. So the thing is, we are not talking about Rudra. You are not talking about Rudra, you are talking about Shiva only. But within forms of Shiva, a form that has some aggression to it. It's not like absolutely pure like Sadashiva or Dakshinamurti. So there are so many different forms. So you can find a form corresponding. So it's basically slightly aggressive form of Shiva.
And if possible, in your opinion, can you give us the translations, the planet to planet translation, or at least point us in the right direction?
Parashara already gave, right? Sun is Shiva, Moon is Parvati Gauri, Mars is Subramanya, Mercury and Saturn are Vishnu. Saturn in a malefic sign is Durga or Kali or those devatas, those aggressive, fierce deities, Ukra devatas. Then Rahu is Durga and other Ukra devatas. Ketu is Ganesha or Subramanya, Kartikeya. Jupiter is Shiva, Sadashiva. He didn't say Sadashiva actually, he just says Shiva. So these are, and Venus is Lakshmi. And when you say Lakshmi, basically other sattvic forms of the Divine Mother. So these are the basic things. And then you see where is he, which sign is he occupying, what are the influences on him. And then you basically try to extrapolate. There are no clear guidance from the Rishi on how to extrapolate.
So depending on the strength of the aspect, the combination would vary.
Depending on the strength of the aspect and depending on if anybody is associated, any of the influencing planets is associated with the 12th Lord, apart from with the 12th. And depending on whether any of them is associated with the Karka of 12th, Ketu. So depending on all those things, we will give different results. Okay. Any other points? Any other questions, comments, points?
I was actually taking your example.
Okay. Yeah.
In your example.
One second, let me open the chart.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have it here. It should be PVR. Yeah. Yeah.
Moon is in.
Moon is the Apakarka in my case. He's at the beginning of Cancer, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And Mercury is the 12th Lord.
Mercury is the 12th Lord, yeah.
And he's actually in the same 12th house contains Mercury.
Yeah, he's at the nearly very close to the cusp of the 12th house, right? Right.
So in one of your examples you mentioned Mercury would generally show a Vishnu Bhakta.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
right.
I'm not trying to derive, I'm just trying to understand.
Mercury shows Vishnu, yeah.
And the 12th house is actually aspected by the Mars Sun Venus combination.
Mm-hmm.
And also Jupiter.
Also?
Jupiter. And Rahu Ketu from the 7th and
it's affected by a lot of
planets.
Yes. Yes. Now 1 second. What is the longitude of Rahu and Ketu? They are at 2 degrees 42 minutes Sagittarius. Right? In D20, Rahu and Ketu are 2 degrees 42 minutes Sagittarius.
Yeah.
Now, the 12th house from Moon is at 1 degree Gemini. So, Rahu and Ketu have a very strong aspect. Rahu and Ketu have a very strong aspect on the 12th house. Right? Moreover, the 12th Lord Mercury also they have a strong aspect. Rahu and Ketu have a strong aspect on the 12th Lord Mercury. Because Mercury, where is he? He is at 2 degrees 49 minutes and Rahu and Ketu are 2 degrees 42 minutes. So it's basically like within 7 minutes. It's almost perfect aspect.
So the descending order would be primarily Mercury because it is Lord in the 12th.
He is the Lord and he is right there. That is the most important influence.
And then Rahu and Ketu.
Secondly, Rahu and Ketu, because Ketu is there. Rahu is with Ketu. Rahu there, he is with Ketu. And the thing is, if you look instead of just looking at the 12th house, if you also look at the 8th house, because there is the other Moksha Trikona. Rahu is the co-lord of the 8th house from Moon. So you can't completely ignore the 8th. If you just take one point, the thing is, it's nice to do analysis, but the thing is, if you want a holistic reading, you have to look at all the things. So, you look at the 8th house, Saturn is there, and Rahu is the stronger lord. So, 8th lord from the Atmakaraka is actually having a very close aspect on the 12th house, and even closer aspect, nearly 100% aspect on the 12th lord. So, he has a link with 12th house, 12th lord, he has a link with Ketu, he is with Ketu. He is a link with the 12th Karaka and he is the 8th Lord. So that Rahu is a very strong planet. So, and Rahu can show, every day I do Chandi Homa and that is shown by Rahu. And the thing is, this started in Rahu Antardasha. When I was running Mercury Dasha, Rahu Antardasha, that is when I got introduced. Actually, until 2005 November, I didn't know anything about Chandi. And somebody said, a priest came to my house and said, he just walked in to see a Satyanarayana Puja. We did Satyanarayana Puja every Purnima day for many years. He just came, he was supposed to go to Canada for a puja, to attend a puja that was done with 1,000 lotuses, 100 lotuses or 1,000 lotuses there at some temple. He was supposed to be there on Saturday there. And my wife casually, we just went to pay a courtesy visit. We didn't even know him. We knew a priest to whose house he came. We just went for a courtesy visit just to say hi and get his blessing. So my wife casually asked, what are you doing this Saturday? He said, I'll do whatever you say, tell me. Then she said, we do a Satyanarayana Puja every full moon day, do you want to come? And he's a Shivacharya, he's not really, he's a priest at Kali temple, he's a Shivacharya. He said, yeah, we are coming. The moment he entered our house, he said, Chandi wants to come to this house. She wants me to do a Chandi Homam here. You must agree, during the Navaratris I will do. The condition is, you should not give even a cent. I will not take any money from you. You buy the materials, that's it. I don't want any money. If you agree, I'll do. And you must agree. Then the Homam happened. On the day, like I wrote on the Vedic wisdom, on the day, the morning, I just went and prayed to Lakshmi. I only know you because I am a Lakshmi worshipper. I do Lakshmi Ashtottram 108 times every Friday since 94. Just calling some Chandi, the name sounds very scary. It sounds like some Kshatriyavata or somebody. I don't know, and he's a Kali temple head priest. And I thought Kali is some kind of demonical goddess. So I don't know all this Kali Chandi they are coming and doing. I don't want to say no to a priest. He seems like a nice person. So whoever they call for the puja, I'll be thinking that you are coming. Mahalakshmi is coming in that name or disguise. So please come and bless. Make sure that things go well and nothing bad, nothing wrong will be done at my house today. But the thing is, when they were reading the Chandi Patham, that was the first time I heard it in October 2005. October, yeah. First time I heard it, and when I heard more than half of it, I understood. I would have understood more, but the thing is, the way it goes is one whole line will be a word. After Sandhis and Samasas, it's very archaic Sanskrit. So I could understand 60-65% of it, and then I understood, oh, this is all nice. I mean, it wasn't like what I imagined. It's not like you are doing black magic. It's not that kind of stuff. It's actually talking about internal struggle to find God. And it's actually talking about Chandi as the consort of Narayana, or the Supreme Cosmic Being, the Paramapurusha. So when I understood it, it basically was, I could correlate it with Vedanta, I could correlate it with my own. At that time I was a Vaishnava. I had a deep, strong Vaishnava biases. I was a biased Vaishnava, not just Vaishnava, biased Vaishnava. So I could correlate it with my biased Vaishnava understanding of the world, of the creation. I could correlate it with Vedanta. And I understood, okay, this is not bad at all. But still I ignored it. And then we did the Chandi Homam, and then I got a Sankalpa to do 108 days of Chandi Path. And then I got into Chandi Homam. So suddenly, Mercury Dasha, Rahu Antardasha, I got introduced to Chandi. I knew nothing about her. But now I'm so attached to it. I do it every day and I thoroughly enjoy it. So the Dasha basically, Mercury and Rahu both, when they came, they basically triggered this. But the thing is, if you ask me who my Ishtadevata is actually, at the last moment basically, who will take me, it's probably going to be, because the 12th Lord is so strongly in the 12th house itself. It will be Mercury. So at last moment, if I remember somebody, if I don't remember anybody, I am gone. I will get moksha. But most likely I am not that kind of person. I remember somebody, I am somebody who will be back again later. Maybe not immediately, but I am that kind of person. I am not for moksha. I am not a person for moksha. So whoever you remember last, you are basically with that deity. So my feeling is it will be Vishnu, it will be Mercury, not Durga. But right now, not right now. When the Rahu Antardasha was running, I was introduced to Chandi. And I believe I will be doing Chandi Sadhana for a long time, because that Rahu is he has a strong influence on the 8th, 12th and the 12th Lord. Moreover, what does 12th house show? It will show giving up ego completely. Complete loss, complete giving up. What does 8th house show? It's basically struggle. It's the sadhana. It's the tapasya. So planets associated with the 8th house will show tapasya. And planets associated with the 12th house will show realization. So the thing is, when the realization is not complete, there is some level of realization, but you haven't fully realized self. You have only gotten glimpses, or you understood parts of it. Then you still need to do sadhana. So the thing is, as far as sadhana is concerned, I will be doing Rahu sadhana, Chandi sadhana, Durga sadhana. But when I realize fully, it will happen through Mercury. Somehow or the other, it will happen through Mercury. Now the other thing, apart from the 8th and 12th from Atmakarka, see who is my Amatyakarka? Is it Mars? I think it's Mars. Yeah, it is Mars. Right? So, the 6th from Amatyakarka.
In D20.
I'm looking in D20 just for spiritual purposes. The 6th from Amatyakarka. Amatyakarka shows your sense of purpose in life, why you came, your mission in life. And the 6th from him shows the struggle to fulfill your mission. So if you see that, where is the 6 from, what is the 6 from Amatyakarka? It is Aquarius.
24 Aquarius.
Pardon me?
24.
24 degrees Aquarius. So the Lord is again Rahu. So apart from sadhana to realize self, apart from realizing self, because Rahu being the 12th Lord from Atmakarka will show sadhana, struggle to find self. And being aspecting the 12th house from Atmakarka, he will also give a realization of self. May or may not be perfect, but he will give a realization of self, an experience of self, an experience of completely giving up ego. That also Rahu will give. Apart from them, Rahu will give another thing, which is the 6 from Amatyakarka. So the struggle to fulfill your purpose. So basically, what is my purpose? It may be defined, but the thing is, Rahu Antardasha started the activity. Basically, and another thing, what house is it from Lagna? The 6th house from Amatyakarka, it happens to be 10th house from Lagna. And it contains the 10th Lord from Lagna, 9th and 10th Lord from Lagna. He is a Yokarka, 9th is Dharma and 10th is Karma. So the thing is, to fulfill my purpose in life, I will be active in the society. In other words, 10th house is the work in the society. So it's not like I'll take sannyas, I'll remain in a hut, infested with scorpions and snakes and do sadhana. That's not what I'll probably do. To fulfill my purpose in life, I have to be active in the society, because 10th house is the house of being active in society for spiritual purposes, because this is D20. So, during the Rahu Antardasha, the activities in the society for the 10th house from Lagna and the 6th from Amatyakarka. So activities in society to fulfill to struggle to fulfill the purpose started. During that time, basically all the Homa movement slowly started, publishing the Homa manuals, telling people about the importance of Homam. And the thing is, in the beginning, people will be like, this is not for me, this is priest can do, not for me, like that basically. People will not be interested. Anything that you are not used to, you don't want to do it. You are like, there's no hurry. You can, even if I have to do, I can do some other time. But the thing is, slowly, now probably up to 1,000 people are doing. And some people are part of a community, but some people are just doing by themselves. They are in some remote places. They just saw the manual on the internet. They got excited. They just do themselves. They just send me a mail. After 6 months, they say, I've been doing for 6 months. I have a question. Suddenly I thought, maybe I'm doing this wrong. Can you clarify? Like that, I keep getting mails. So I know that a lot of people are doing it now. And the thing is, as more and more people do, it becomes very easy to propagate. But the thing is, if you want to propagate something, in the beginning it is a lot of trouble. So the thing is, Rahu is in the 8th house from Lagna. So it shows physically, Lagna is basically, we are not talking about Atmakarka now. The 8th from Atmakarka shows struggle to find self. But the 8th from Lagna is just my struggle. So I was working hard, I was making manuals, I was telling people, consider doing Homam, it will be good for you. Yeah, it's okay, you can do, anybody can do, like that basically. All the struggle is shown by Rahu. Now the thing is, now Saturn Antardasha is running. Mercury Saturn is running. This is the last Antardasha in Mercury Dasha. After that, my Ketu Mahadasha will come. So Saturn is in the 10th house. He is the 9th and 10th Lord. He is the Dharmadhipati as well as Karmadhipati. So he will make you do dharmic karmas. And he will also make me active in the society. He will not give me seclusion. And he's not really associated with the 8th house like Rahu. So I will not be really struggling that hard. There will not be that much hard work for me. It will not be that much of a struggle. It will be relatively smoother because he's a Yokarka. He's a functional benefic, Saturn. But the thing is, in this period also, I'll be active in the society as far as spirituality is concerned. And in this period also, Saturn being the 6th Lord from the Amatyakarka Mars, right? He's the 6th Lord from Amatyakarka Mars. So, in this period also, there will be, the struggle to fulfill my mission, my purpose in life, in the spiritual matters. It will go on during this period also.
And Ketu is actually in your 8th house.
Yeah, Ketu is in the 8th house. He is in the 8th house. He is basically the other planet who is aspecting the 12th from Karkamsa as well as 12th Lord from Karkamsa. He is actually the Karka for perfect renunciation and perfect dispassion and moksha basically. He is the Karka for moksha. So being the Karka for moksha and aspecting the 12th house and 12th Lord, Ketu Dasha, assuming that other Dashas also line up, because Vimshati is not the only Dasha you see for these purposes, right? So, basically Ketu Dasha, as such, Ketu Dasha is a conducive Dasha. But is it conducive for fulfilling the mission in the society? Not that much. He is with the sixth lord from Amaskarka. So he can also give some struggle to fulfill your mission in society. But the thing is, it will basically become less. So there will not be as much struggle to fulfill my mission. So last few years, basically coming up with the manuals, creating a small community. Once the community establishes itself, slowly, as some of the people are doing for 3 years, as people do 3 years, 5 years like that, people will definitely start experiencing. Fire is a very powerful medium. People will themselves start experiencing. They will get a glimpse of self. They will get a glimpse of this, glimpse of that. And as that happens, they will tell other people, this is good for you, why don't you do? As they start enjoying it, as they start seeing the result of it, as they start seeing the change in their attitude, they will tell other people. So the thing is, in other words, it will be on cruise control. By the time a Kedasha comes, not exactly on cruise control, but from my point of view, I will not really bother that much about it. I will not be that worried or concerned about it. It will just be on cruise control as far as I am concerned, and people will be doing and people will be benefiting. And as far as my own experience is concerned, it is a very conducive dasha. More than Rahu Antardasha, Kedasha is a very conducive dasha because he is the Karaka. And especially Ketu in Sagittarius was particularly mentioned by Parashara, Ketu, from the point of view of being in the 12th house. So this is a good dasha for me, Ketu dasha. So like this you can see the influence on the 12th house, on the 12th lord, on the 12th Karaka, which is Ketu. See all the links between all these. And then see other factors like 8th from Karakamsha, the 6th from Amatya Karakamsha, because those are also important. Any other questions or points?
It makes me smile. Whenever the correlations are very easily understood.
Yeah.
When I sit with the chart at home and I still
Yeah,
have
practice.
pages and pages of information.
Yeah, that is right. Practice, and moreover, when a particular chart gives you hard time, remember, the thing is we forget. We encounter things and then we forget. Put a bookmark there in your mind. And then when I ask you to have a chart to discuss or any questions, bring up the chart, then we can discuss and we can try to make sense of it. The thing is, we read a book, we see a page, we don't understand something, we want to revisit, we go to another page, we forget which page it is. So put a bookmark there, write it down or something, remember it.
So, I don't know why, and you don't mind it that way, sir, but is it possible for you to at least one Chandipat sloka per day? If you can explain.
Explain? No, I think this is not the right forum for it. This is not the right forum. So I'll probably, that's a good suggestion, maybe on the Basic Wisdom Yahoo group. This is not the right forum. And also the thing is, if I start doing Chandi, one sloka per class, we are committed to having 700 classes. I don't want to do that. The thing is, anything that is created has to be destroyed. So when the right time comes, everything has to dissolve. And I don't want to commit this class for 700 days or having to basically break in the middle of Chandi. So it's not a good idea. So I'll start doing them on Vedic Wisdom Yahoo group, not here. The thing is, all the slokas in Chandipat, they have a gross meaning basically. They have a meaning, physical meaning. Okay, Shumha came and she said this, Shumha pounced on her, like that. So there is a gross meaning, but also there is a subtle meaning. Shumha means greatness, Mahisha means supremacy. Like that, each word has a special meaning. Rakta Bija, Rakta means blood, but also it comes from the Dhatu, which also means coloring. It also means attraction. So Bija means seed, so seed of attraction, seed of desires. So Rakta Bija, literally it means seed of blood, because when Rakta Bija's blood falls on the earth, from each blood drop, another Rakta Bija will come. That is what the story says. He has that boon, he has that special siddhi. But it also means Rakta Bija is the seed of desire. Like that, each basically has, he represents something symbolic within us, each of these Rakshasas in the story. So at the end, Chandipat is basically about getting self-control, getting perfect mastery over yourself. And all the weaknesses that are within you, including the biggest weaknesses, basically killing those weaknesses. So it is basically about that. So it's a good idea to talk about the subtle meaning. So I'll start doing it. But my take is this. I'll start doing it, but I'll end with this word. The key is one may understand a lot of philosophy. One may feel very nice when he reads very subtle concepts and philosophy. Oh, this is so great. But the thing is, it is useless. You have to do sadhana. The experience comes only through sadhana. By reading a book or reading something really nicely written, you will get inspiration to do sadhana. You will get inspiration to become realized. But you don't become realized by reading. It never happens that way. The key is to do sadhana. There is no substitute for it. So whatever I write anywhere or whatever I tell people, the goal is to inspire them to do sadhana. There is no shortcut. Anybody who tells you there is a shortcut, you can go to a magical place and sit there for 1 hour and you become realized, or you go to a magical great siddha, a person touch his feet and you get realized, he is fooling. That is not possible. You have to. Even Ramakrishna Paramahamsa had to do sadhana for 15 years before he could see Kali. Even Vivekananda had to struggle, despite being helped by Ramakrishna, directly given things by Ramakrishna. He had to struggle for Ramakrishna passed away in 86. Before that 8 years of heavy sadhana, after that another 6-7 years of heavy sadhana, then he came into limelight and he had some clarity on what to do. Everybody, Ramana Maharshi, without trying, he had a glimpse of self. But then, after that, she had to do sadhana for another 15 years to make it permanent, to become fully realized. So the thing is, to see a note, a $100 note lying on the ground is possible. But to be able to always remove a $100 note from your pocket, you have to work hard. You have to go to your job and work hard. Similarly, to become realized, to become free from this cycle, to either get moksha or kajya or devata forever, you have to do sadhana. There is no alternative. So, all this intellectual curiosity to learn, because you have it, you should learn. But also it is important to eventually cut down on the intellectual curiosity and just do sadhana. Just to surrender and do sadhana. So with that note I will end. Om Sarvam Shri Krishnarpanamastu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Sarve Dharmik Jana Sukhino Bhavantu Yavad Bhumandale Sanatan Dharmo Vantatu Visheshata Bhartakande Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Light stopped.